best station in music news, sports, and entertainment. We are High Power 102.7 FM, the pride of the people.
Yes, it's an amazing Wednesday morning to you listeners out there. The program you're on to is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. It is a program where we preview and review headlines and news making rounds in the papers for your listening pleasure. I am Inioluwa Adekoya. And this morning, talking headlines, I've got with me the Herb newspaper, the Punch newspaper, the Daily Post newspaper, and the Nation's newspaper. Right about now, I will go on a short break. When I get back, I'll give you headlines making rounds in the papers this morning. Yes, the program you're onto is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Beginning on the top of the list of our headlines this morning from the Hope newspaper. Ondo government approves $1.6 million hydropower project, 7.5 megawatt gas plant. Yes, still in Ondo State, Ondo government urges patience over Akura water project. Yes, and now moving to Osun State, talking Osun poll. INEC extends PVC collection to the 31st of July. And now moving to Abuja, gunmen kill 7 army colonel, injure wife, others. And now moving to the Daily Post newspaper, talking electricity tariff hike. Nigerians tackle Tinubu's government's failure to fix power supply challenges. Yes, and now still on the Daily Post newspaper, moving to Kano State, bridges not meant for hawking, scavenging. Kano government warns as enforcement begins. And now to Kebbi State, Governor Idris convenes high-level security meeting amid rising insecurity in Kebbi. Yes, still on the Daily Post newspaper, talking appeal court judgment. Best thing is resignation. Senior lawyer Madubuchi tells Justice Lethal. Yes, still on the Daily Post newspaper, kidnappers demand 200 million naira ransom for abducted Kebbi High Court judge. Yes, and now adding straight to the Punch newspaper, federal government overshoots borrowing limit as new debt reaches 12.62 trillion naira. And now still on the Punch newspaper, EFCC faces credibility questions over asset auction. And now back to Oyo State. Makinde unveils 2 new surveillance aircraft to combat insecurity. Yes, and now moving to Ogun State, talking collapsed building, 3 dead, 12 rescued as Ogun begins probe. Yeah, still taking headlines on the Punch newspaper. Navy falls 660 million naira crude oil theft. Arrest 12 suspects in Akwa Ibom. And I'm moving to Bayelsa State. Police probe death of missing Bayelsa court member. And now adding to the nation's newspaper, Fast Lady to Nigerians, let's be compassionate, patriotic. And now finally on the nation's newspaper, Tinubu Lord's Minister Doro's dedication at daughter's wedding. Yes, and with that, I will go on another short break. When I get back, I will dish out to you the headlines and news making rounds in the papers this morning. The program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM, and I will be right back. Yes, welcome back. The program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Beginning on the top of the list of our news this morning from the Open newspaper, Ondo government approves $1.6 million hydropower project, 7.5 megawatt gas plant. And now to the details. The Ondo State Executive Council has approved a $1.6 million United Nations Industrial Development Organization small hydropower project at the Owena Dam and a 7.5 megawatt gas-fired turbine to power government facilities across the state. The approval were among far-reaching decisions taken at the Executive Council meeting presided over by Governor Lucky Orimison Ayedatiwa. The Council also approved the conversion of Rufus Giwa Polytechnic Award to Rufus Giwa University of Agricultural Science and Technology, ratified 21 infrastructure projects, approved counterpart funding for the ongoing Urban Water Project, confirmed 2 traditional rulers, and passed a vote of confidence in the government. Speaking on the energy sector, the Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, Engineer Johnson Alabi, said the Council approved the UNIDO small hydropower project at the Owena Dam. He explained that the 350-kilowatt hydropower project would be funded through the UNIDO grant, while the state government would provide a 30% counterpart contribution. Alabi disclosed that the project is valued at $1.6 million. He also announced the approval of a 7.5 megawatt gas-fired turbine to be sited at the Alagbaka Commissioner quarters to provide electricity for government facilities across the state. On his part, the Commissioner for Infrastructure, Land and Housing, Engineer Abiola Olawuyi, said the Council ratified about 21 projects previously awarded across the state local government areas. The project ratified by the Council includes the construction of Okela NYSC Camp Federal Technical College Road, Ikare Akoko, construction of 27 units of 4-bedroom terrace buildings for members of the legislature. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Open newspaper with the headline, Ondo government approves $1.6 million hydropower project, 7.5 megawatt gas plant. Yeah, still taking headlines and news from the Open newspaper. Ondo government urges patience over Akura water project. And now to the details. The Ondo State Government has appealed to residents of Akura and surrounding communities to cooperate with contractors and in the ongoing water supply rehabilitation project, assuring them that the temporary inconveniences caused by construction works will give way to a reliable supply of potable water. The Commission of Water Resources, Public Sanitation and Hygiene, Mr. Ayodele Akonde, made the appeal in Akura while providing an update on the implementation of the project. He said work on the rehabilitation of the state's water infrastructure is progressing steadily, describing the initiative as one of Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa-led administration priority project aimed at improving access to potable water across the state. According to the Commissioner, the rehabilitation program remains a work in progress, noting that although construction is still ongoing, significant milestones have already been reached. He recalled that the project was officially flagged on December 9th, 2025, when the government announced plans to restore and upgrade the state water supply infrastructure. Akode disclosed that contractors are working around the clock to rehabilitate the water treatment plant, with obsolete and damaged equipment being overhauled and replaced to restore the facility to full operational capacity. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Open newspaper with the headline, Ondo government urges patience over Akura water project. Yes, and now moving to Osun State, Osun Poor INEC extends PVC collection to the 31st of July. And now to the details. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has extended the collection of permanent voters' card (PVCs) at registration area centers in Osun State by 3 days, moving the deadline from Tuesday the 28th of July to Friday the 31st of July 2026. The Commission said the extension was necessary to accommodate more registered voters who were unable to collect their cards during the initial period, citing complaints from voters, large crowds at collection centers, and other challenges encountered during the exercise. The decision comes barely 3 weeks before the August 15th governorship election in the state, with INEC urging eligible voters yet to collect their PVCs to take advantage of the additional window. The Commission disclosed the development in a statement signed by Mr. Aria Rufus, head of Department of Voters Education, Publicity, Gender and Inclusivity, INEC Osun State, on behalf of the Resident Electoral Commissioner. According to the statement, the Commission commenced the distribution of PVCs at the registration area level on Wednesday, the 22nd of July, with the exercise initially scheduled to end on Tuesday, the 28th of July. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Open newspaper with the headline, Osun Poor INEC extends PVC collection to the 31st of July. Yes, and I'm moving to Abuja. On the Open newspaper, gunmen kill 7 army colonel, injure wife, others. And now to the details. A 7 Nigerian army officer, Colonel Abdusalam Uda, has been killed by gunmen during an attack on his residence in the Kurudu area of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Africans and diaspora. The incident reportedly occurred on Monday evening, shortly after the officer returned home from work. Sources said the assailants allegedly attempted to abduct the senior military officer or members of his family before opening fire during the attack. Colonel Uda was fatally shot while his wife, driver, and security guard sustained gunshot injuries. The injured victims were rushed to the hospital where they are receiving treatment. The motive for the attack had yet to be established, while the exact circumstances surrounding the incident remains unclear. Security sources said military authorities and other security agencies have launched an investigation to identify and apprehend those behind the attack. Colonel Uda, an indigene of Enugu State, served in the Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps and held several key intelligence and counter-terrorism positions during his military career. He reportedly participated in counterinsurgency operations in Nigeria's northeast and also served as an international assignment in Chad and France, contributing to intelligence and security cooperation, Africans, and diaspora. Colleagues described him as a committed and professional officer dedicated to national service. If this story aligns with your interest, it is on the newspaper with the headline, Abuja gunman kills 7 army colonel, injure wife, others. Yes, and now back to Ondo State, talking AAUA. Salary payments won't stop fresh strike. ASU warns Ayedatiwa. And now to the details. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, Adekoya Ajashin University, Akungba Akoko, AAUA chapter, has warned that payment of outstanding salaries owed lecturers will not prevent another round of industrial action unless the Ondo State government implements the 2025 federal government ASU agreement. The union disclosed that it had completed internal procedures for a fresh strike and was only awaiting approval for its national leadership, noting that the action could involve all 3 state-owned universities in Ondo. AAUA lecturers have been on an indefinite strike since the 10th of July over unpaid salaries. Speaking, the AAUA ASU chairman, Dr. Boluwaji Oshodi, said the union had received information that Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa had released funds to offset salary arrears, but insisted the strike would only be suspended after members received payment alerts. According to him, lecturers are currently owed salaries for May, June, and July. He added that beyond the salary issue, ASU was preparing for another industrial action over the non-implementation of the 2025 ASU federal government agreement. Oshodi further warned that the planned action would extend beyond AAUA to Olusegun Agagu University of Science and Technology and the University of Medical Sciences. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, AAUA salary payment won't stop fresh strike, says ASU to Ayedatiwa. Yeah, still on the Daily Post newspaper, proposed FRSC Act amendment did not introduce new ban to hawking preaching, says Senate. And now to the details. The Senate has clarified that the proposed amendment to the Federal Road Safety Commission FRSC Establishment Act 2007 does not create a new prohibition against preaching or hawking in commercial vehicles. According to the upper chamber, both activities have long been classified as offences under existing laws, including Section 10, Subsection 4 of the FRSC Establishment Act and Regulation 220 of the National Road Traffic Regulation 2012. In a statement issued by the office of the Senate leader, the Senate explained that the provision in question was previously listed as item 36 in the second schedule of the Act and has only been remembered as item 49 during the ongoing amendment process. The Chamber noted that the law has been in force since the FRSC Act was enacted in 2007, dismissing public concerns that the amendment seek to introduce a fresh restriction on religious activities. The Senate also rejected claims that the legislation is intended to ban street preaching or limit freedom of worship in public spaces. The upper chamber further clarified that the amendment bill was not sponsored by Senate leader Senator Okpayemi Bamidele, contrary to reports circulating in some quarters. According to the Senate, the bill originated in the House of Representatives and is currently before the Senate for concurrence in line with constitutional procedures. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Proposed FRSC Act Amendment did not introduce new ban on hawking preaching, says Senate. Yes, so on the Daily Post newspaper, Unilag withdraws controversial Do Not Shake Hands anti-rape advisory. And now to the details. The University of Lagos, Inioluwa Adekoya, has withdrawn a controversial advisory on sexual harassment issued to female students following widespread public criticism stating that the publication does not represent the institution's values while reaffirming its zero-tolerance stance on sexual harassment. The clarification was contained in a statement released by the head of University Communication Unit at Adejoke Alaga Ibrahim after the roll-up banner produced by the Student Affairs Division sparked outrage on social media. The advisory had encouraged female students to take precautionary measures against sexual harassment and rape, including statements such as do not shake hands anyhow with any man, do not dress to kill, and do not mingle carelessly with men. The banner also cautioned female students against accepting gifts from men, staying alone with a man in a secluded place, and watching pornographic content. The publication drew widespread criticism, with many social media users accusing the university of promoting victim blaming by placing the burden of preventing sexual harassment on potential victims rather than addressing the action of perpetrators. Responding to the backlash, the university management acknowledged the concerns expressed by members of the public and confirmed that the advisory had been withdrawn. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Unilag withdraws controversial Do Not Shake Hands anti-rape advisory. Yes, still on the Daily Post with the latest update on the shooting of the Army colonel and his wife. Army colonel and wife not gunned down in Abuja, FCT police. And now to the details. The Federal Capital Territory, FCT Police Command has clarified reports purporting that a serving military officer identified as Colonel Abdusalam A. Ude was killed by gunmen within the capital city. Reports making rounds suggest that the military officer was attacked and killed by armed men in Kurudu district area of FCT while they were attempting to kidnap him. Reacting, FCT Police Command in a statement issued by its public relations officer, Josephine Ade, said contrary to the reports, the unfortunate incident did not occur within the FCT. According to Josephine, upon becoming aware of the publication, the FCT Commissioner of Police, CP Ahmed Mohammed Sanusi, ordered an in-depth investigation to establish the facts surrounding the incident. He said, and I quote, consequently, investigations revealed that the incident occurred in Banda, New Karu local government area of Nasarawa State and not within the jurisdiction of the FCT Police Command, as falsely portrayed in circulating publication. The CPFCT Command has also proactively ordered the immediate deployment of operational and intelligence assets to border communities adjoining the FCT with Nasarawa State with the aim of preventing any attempt by criminal elements to infiltrate the Federal Capital Territory or perpetrate any criminal activity within the nation's capital. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Army Colonel wife not gunned down in Abuja, says FCT police. Yeah, still taking news from the Daily Post newspaper talking electricity tariff hike. Nigerians tackle Tinubu's government's failure to fix power supply challenges. And now to the details. Nigerian government's alleged proposal to increase electricity tariff across bands is drawing sharp criticism. Recent reports that this comes amid President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government failure to address the country's electricity supply challenges, contrary to his promise before the 2023 general election. This comes amidst controversy surrounding the federal government's reported proposal to increase electricity tariffs in phases. Recall that Tinubu's special advisor on power infrastructure, Sadiq Wanka, said tariff increment for all customers band would be implemented in phases. Although the presidency over the weekend dismissed the report of a planned electricity tariff hike, fair remains that the government may implement the said increment. Electricity consumers are, however, insisting that the government has no moral justification to increase electricity tariffs amid the country's abysmal power supply. According to the consumers, the Tinubu administration's poor performance in the electricity sector is sufficient reason to halt any tariff increase. Recent reports the Nigerian electricity generation currently fluctuates between 3,500 and 4,500 megawatts, virtually the same level recorded since 2023, despite serving an estimated population of over 200 million. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Electricity Tariff Hike, Nigerians tackle Tinubu's government failure to fix power supply challenges. Yeah, still on the Daily Post newspaper talking appeal court judgment. Best thing is resignation. Senior lawyer Madua Buchi tells Justice Lethal. And now to the details. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Oba Madua Buchi, has asked Justice Peter Lethal of the Federal High Court to resign. He said the judge should be ashamed of still entering the court to deliver rulings. This is following the Court of Appeal ruling that vacated the judgment that directed the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to deregister the African Democratic Congress, ADC, and 4 other political parties accused of failing to meet constitutional requirements. Madua Buchi noted that judiciary has left its job and is now involving itself in partisan politics. That is bad for Nigerian democracy. He said. Recent reports that the panel berated Justice Lethal for disobeying an order it had made on the 22nd of May, directing him to stay proceedings in the case pending the outcome of the appeal by the parties. It noted that even though the trial judge's attention had been drawn to the order for the stay of proceedings, he intentionally flouted it and went ahead to deliver judgment. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Appeal Court Judgment, Best Thing is Resignation. Senior lawyer Madua Buchi tells Justice Lethal. Yes, the program is still in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Yes, right about now, I will go on a short break. When I get back, the phone lines will be officially open and I will give you more news making rounds in the papers this morning. The program is in the papers and I will be right back. Yes, glad to have you back. The program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. The phone lines are officially open for comments and contributions to any of the news that piques your interest. The number to call is 0816 552 4699 0816 552 4699. You can also watch us live in Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube at iPower 1027 FM. And now moving to the Punch newspaper, federal government overshoots borrowing limit as new debt reaches 12.62 trillion naira. And now to the details. The federal government has exceeded its 2024 borrowing target by 4.79 trillion naira after a wider than projected budget deficit forced it to raise significantly more financing than originally planned. The Budget Office of the Federation has disclosed, according to the last four-quarter and consolidated budget implementation report for 2024, the federal government's new borrowing rose to 12.62 trillion naira, exceeding the budget by 7.83 trillion naira by 4.79 trillion naira, or 61.2%. The higher borrowing requirement followed the substantial revenue shortfall, which pushed the fiscal deficit to 13.51 trillion naira, well above the approved deficit of 9.18 trillion naira. The report shows that aggregate federal government revenue stood at about 20.98 trillion naira, compared with the budget estimate of about 25.88 trillion naira, representing a shortfall of 4.90 trillion naira. Total expenditure, however, amounted to 34.49 trillion naira, only 561.29 billion naira below the approval estimate of 35.6 trillion naira, indicating that the wider fiscal gap was driven primarily by weaker revenues rather than higher spending. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Federal Government Overshoots Borrowing Limit as New Debt Reaches 12.62 trillion naira. Yes, the phone lines are still open for comment and contribution. The number to call is 0816 552 4699. 0816 552 4699. Hello.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I am Edgar calling from Owo.
Okay, could we have your
I hope
contribution?
I'm with high power in really.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes.
You see, our serving soldiers are being killed, generals, lieutenant colonel, brigadiers, and so on that in this country. It's very simple. Not to increase the vision coming from it to where we are building to the solution. The one we are having at times, this state date, we're supposed to approve a very highly sophisticated weapon so then to face these banditry fellows. It's very tired of when someone having a fatherland meritoriously and don't retire to have his own benefit to train his children to benefit the nations that he has served. That's the comment this morning from. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for that comment. Yes, the phone lines are still open if you want to contribute to any of the news that piques your interest. The number to call is 0816 552 4699. 0816 552 4699. And now moving on, still on the Punch newspaper, EFCC faces credibility questions over asset auction. And now the details. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has come under fresh scrutiny over its decision to auction seized vehicles through a platform it intends to manage with the Nigerian Association Yes, you can call us back 0816-552-4699. I go back to that with the Nigerian Association of Auctioneers accusing the anti-graft agency of undermining transparency, accountability, and due process in the disposal of forfeited assets. The association said allowing the FCC to investigate financial crimes, seize assets, retain custody of them, and subsequently conduct their sale amount for conflict of roles capable of eroding public confidence in the asset recovery process. Speaking in an interview with Newsman, the president of the Nigerian Association of Auctioneers, Benjamin Isibo, insisted that the commission lacks the legal basis to function as both custodian and seller of assets recovered from suspected criminals. According to him, the association had previously challenged a similar move during the tenure of former EFCC chairman Ibrahim Mago. He said, and I quote, the EFCC is now trying to act as a custodian and seller of assets, which is totally unlawful. This same issue happened during former EFCC chairman Ibrahim Mago. Magu said he was going to bring in foreigners to sell these assets, but it was stopped after our outcry. We're completely against this process, and it should not be done when there are reputable and certified auctioneers who are on the front line to do this job for you. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, EFCC faces credibility questions over asset auctions. Yes, the phone lines are still open, 0816-552-4699, 0816-552-4699 for your comment and contribution to any of the news that piques your interest. Yes, and now still on the Punch newspaper, moving to Bayelsa State. Police probe death of missing Bayelsa court member. And now to the details. The Bayelsa State Police Command has commenced an investigation into the death of a National Youth Service Corps member, Stanley Okebaram, whose body was recovered in Nembe local government area of the state. The command spokesperson, Musa Mohammed, confirmed the development to Newsman, saying detectives had launched a discreet investigation to determine the circumstances surrounding the court member's death. Okebram, a graduate of civil engineering and former president of the Students' Union government of the Federal Polytechnic, Nekede, was found dead days after he was reported missing in the Riverine community where he was serving. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Police probe death of missing Bayelsa court member. Hello.
Hello, Abanimi calling.
Okay, Obanimi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah. My take is on the EFCC.
Okay.
Time and time again, the EFCC has been accused of being selective in the pursuit of their.
Hello.
As a matter of fact, they have been accused of being a tool in the hands of the ruling party. They have to be an unbiased umpire, so that they will be able to disabuse the minds of Nigerians. Nigerians don't trust them. That is just the truth. So Nigerians see the EFCC as being used as a tool by the incumbent. So I think that coloration has to change. Thank you.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for that contribution of Banimi. Yes, you can still call us. The number to call is 0816 552 4699. 0816 552 4699 for your contribution to any of the news that piques your interest. And now moving to the nation's newspaper, First Lady to Nigerians, let's be compassionate, patriotic, and now to the details. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has urged fellow Nigerians to demonstrate greater compassion towards one another and deepen their love for the country. She noted that such values are essential for strengthening national unity and development. Mrs. Tinubu said this while hosting an Israeli ambassador to Nigeria, Michael Shao Freeman, during a visit to our office in Abuja. She said compassion, love, and mutual assistance remain fundamental values that should guide relationship among Nigerians. The First Lady stressed that helping one another reflects both godliness and patriotism. Senator Tinubu expressed confidence in Nigerians' immense potential, describing the country as a land richly endowed with opportunities and capable of rewarding genuine investment. In a statement in Abuja by our senior special assistant on media, Busola Kukoyi, the First Lady said, and I quote, "I love Nigeria. It is a great country. There is no investment that you put in Nigeria that goes to waste. The more I discover who we are, the more I see how blessed the nation is. I pray that the young people and the coming generation can see that this is a great nation." If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the nation's newspaper with the headline, "First Lady to Nigerians, let's be compassionate, patriotic." Yes, still on the nation's newspaper, Ubasani picks revenue agency boss Jerry Adams as running mate. And now to the details. Kaduna State Governor Ubasani has announced the nomination of the executive chairman of the Kaduna State Internal Revenue Service, Mr. Jerry Adams, as his running mate for the 2027 governorship election. The governor described the decision as a reaffirmation of his administration's commitment to inclusion, justice, and equitable governance. He said the choice of Adams followed wide consultation, deep reflection, and earnest prayers, stressing that it goes beyond the selection of a deputy governorship candidate to underscore the values that have guided his administration since assuming office on the 29th of May 2023. In a statement announcing his nomination, Ubasani said Kaduna State rich adversity of faith, ethnicities, and cultures remain its greatest strength and must continue to be honest for peace, development, and unity. He further noted that the state history has demonstrated both the dangers of the vision and immense possibilities that emerge when citizens embrace dialogue, inclusion, and justice in pursuit in shared goals. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the nation's newspaper with the headline, Obasani picks revenue agency boss Jerry Adams as running mate. Yes, the program you're still on to is in the papers and iPower 102.7 FM. Our time is fast spent on the program this beautiful morning. And with that, I will call it a wrap on today's edition of In the Papers. I sincerely hope this review has kept you informed of conversations making rounds in the papers today. Until next time, I remain Inioluwa Adekoya. Have a wonderful day and stay tuned to iPower 102.7 FM for endless list of informative and entertaining programs coming your way. God bless Nigeria and good morning.